Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Joanna McCoskey, Wiltshire. I am the state chair from Delaware. It's my great privilege to serve as the masterclass chair this year. We have three clinicians, other state chairs. So before each clinician works with the student, I'm going to take a second to introduce them. I have a little bit of each bio that I can read for you, just so you have an idea of who's going to be teaching today. So I would like to start, if possible. I think I saw Emma Chin come in. We're going to start with Emma, who's going to be working with Stephen Klimowski. So let's have those two folks unmute themselves, I should say. Emma, are you there? You got your video on?
Oh, yes.
And then Stephen, I will communicate with you via the chat about how much time we have. Okay, so a little bit about Stephen. Stephen Klimowski was the principal clarinet with the Burlington Chamber Orchestra for 15 years, founder of the Vermont Contemporary Music Ensemble, where he performed and commissioned new music for 33 years. Klimowski was the principal clarinet for the Middlebury Opera for 10 years. He played with Raising Cane, the Vermont Symphony's woodwind trio, for over 35 years, performing in most of Vermont's schools. He is an affiliate artist teaching clarinet and classical saxophone at the University of Vermont since 1980 and at Middlebury College. He currently plays with the group Frevo, a quartet of flute, clarinet, cello, and classical guitar, where he tours Vermont each year. So Emma was part of our junior division, so she's going to play the Frederick Demnitz Elementary School for Clarinet, number 18 in D minor. So I'll just have you take that away whenever you're ready, Emma.
Wait, am I playing in front of everyone?
You are, yes, please. If you'd like to leave your camera off, that's totally fine.
Okay. Oh, sorry. This is my first time.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing great already. You're here, you're in the room, you're doing great. And we're all here to help.
Do you want me to do a test note?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to do a test note?
No. You sound great. As long as you have your original sound on, we should be able to hear you just fine.
Okay.
Oh, Emma, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can Bravo, Emma. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So nice job. Where are you playing from?
I'm playing in my room.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to turn up the sound here. I'm sorry. Do that right now. Yeah, Emma. So where do you live? I can't hear a thing now. Emma, are you there?
Sorry, I'm glitching.
That there we go. Now I can hear you just fine. Nice playing. Beautiful tone. Now, do you ever play with a metronome?
I do.
Yeah,
Well,
I would
actually,
suggest
I just sorry. What?
I would suggest playing with the metronome almost all the time now. Now, what do you do? But when you're playing by yourself, because of course we don't perform with a metronome, what do we do during the long notes? In other words, how do you
Like,
count them?
like one. Wait, like
How
you
do you?
hold the log to the next beat.
Yeah. Steve, you can talk a little closer to the microphone. I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Like, for instance, the first half note you play, you just got done playing eighth notes, right? So I would suggest you keep counting 4/8 notes during that half note. Because one thing I noticed in your playing was that whenever there was kind of a long note or a note followed by a rest, you tended to shorten that time and come in early after that. Okay, and one of the most important things in music is keeping a beat, is the rhythm, and the first part of keeping of rhythm is keeping the pulse, right? So you have to keep track of the pulse, and that's why I mentioned the metronome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By the way, what grade are you in, Emma?
I'm in eighth grade.
Eighth grade. Boy, do you play well. I wish I played that well when I was in eighth grade. That's great. Um, uh, The next thing, so that was the first thing that caught my mind. Now I can't see you because you don't have your camera on, so I couldn't say anything about hand position or anything like that. But let's talk about what the music means, and what I mean there is all music has some sort of feeling, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of feeling does this music give you? Just a general term. That's kind of a hard question, I know.
Like I feel like it like gives me like kind of like bouncy, like I don't know, like bouncy, but like I don't know. It kind of just like makes me like feel like happy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's in a minor key, right? So what does that usually mean?
Um,
Minor key is usually a little bit on the serious side, right? Or could be sad, but I don't think this is a sad piece. But on the
yeah.
serious side, maybe? Okay. Now, the music that they gave me is really edited a lot. So it's like he's telling you everything to do. He tells you where to breathe. He tells you the dynamics and everything. What I would suggest you do with this piece is white out all of the expression marks and make up your own. For instance, he tells you to start soft and get loud, and that's not a bad idea because when you're going up a scale, when you're ascending, you generally want to play louder. You want to crescendo, so that's a natural thing to do. In fact, do you know the two fundamental rules of phrasing? Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, well, remember this. The two fundamental rules of phrasing are the first one is follow the line. And that means if the line goes up, if the notes are going up, you generally get louder. And if the line is going down, you generally get softer. Now we break these rules all the time, but this is a fundamental thing. The second rule is that if you repeat something, if you repeat a note or you repeat a group of notes that sound the same, they call that a sequence, you will change that. And you have 4 choices when you do that. It's either faster, slower, or louder or softer. So you're going to do something like that when something's repeated. If you don't do that, what it's called is boring. Okay, and you don't want to be boring. It just occurred to me my video's off, so I will turn my video on. I'm sorry my video's off. So I would like you to play. He's got it well written at the beginning. Notice he starts soft and he goes louder. How soft do you think you should play that first note?
Piano.
Yeah. Well, it can't be too soft because you have to come in and it's the beginning of the piece and people want to know you started. But then you do want to follow the line up. All right. Would you please play that first up from your low A to that half note F and give me a nice healthy crescendo on that. But don't start too loud or too soft. But give yourself room to crescendo is what I'm saying. Okay, great. Now, is the microphone right next to your clarinet?
Yeah, do you want me to scoot back?
Yeah, now you're going to have to scoot back a little bit because that first note came booming out. All right, so back up just a little bit and then and play it again. But so start softer and you're going to get louder. Excellent, excellent. Now, so what does he say in the next few notes? He says mezzo forte and then piano. So you notice the line's going down, and he's telling you very specifically how to play it. Now, I'm not sure I'm crazy about the specificity of it, but basically you're going to go down. And there are 2 what we call sequences. The first one is dum, da dum, 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 right? The next one is just a variation of it, dum, da 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 dum. It's really the same thing twice. The second one's varied. Do you see how that is? See how that is? Okay, so he's a bit over edited it here, but he's correct too. All right, so and notice how it's a contrast from what you did before. You came up all straight eighth notes. And now the rhythm's getting a little jumpier here, right? So now and it's getting softer as the line goes down. So now what I'd like you to do, start at the beginning, start that first note kind of soft, crescendo up, and then you're going to play 2 sequences. And the first one is dum, da dum, 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 and then softer, dum, da 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 dum. Play that much and see if you can give it line like that. Excellent. And excellent in terms of the rhythm. The length of the half note was perfect. The length of the quarter note was perfect. Excellent. Boy, I wish you were my student. Okay, so let's look at the next phrase. It's basically a repeat of the very first phrase, only he's flowering it up with all those 16th notes. Do you see that? It's basically a scale, the exact same thing. So go ahead, play that, and you're going to start piano just like you did before, and make another big crescendo, right? Okay, yeah, but start with dum. Or maybe it didn't come through. Dum da 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 dum. Try that again.
Wait, wait from the.
Yeah, can you just no, no. So start on the low A there, because that's where the phrase starts, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, now continue with it. And again, he's just bringing it back down. Only this sounds like it's newer stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, play the ending of the phrase now. So you'll want to decrescendo, ba 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 da ba ba ba, right? Because you're finishing it off. Now, what happens to the next music? It's really different, isn't it? It's all eighth notes, and it's all accenting almost every single quarter note, right? There's nothing smooth about this. So it's got a different character, right? So you need to bring out that different character. So play the next phrase for me. Okay, now we have staccato here, right? And it takes a lot of control to play staccato. It takes a good read. And so, how do you play staccato? I can't see you, so it's hard to say here. But how do you play staccato?
Like I play it short and bouncy.
Okay. All right. Well, let me give you a hint. And this comes to really the very basics of all clarinet playing, and that is what we do with the air. All right. We usually start each of these notes with the tongue on the reed, but let me emphasize very lightly on the reed. All right. And so, only we're doing little puffs of air, like you're going. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like it's a da, 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 but I'm doing it with just the air. All right. So you're doing these little puffs of air. Think of that as little puffs of air. So you have short, da, 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 then a longer puff of air, da, da, then a puffs of air, short, ta, ta, then longer, da, da, right? So see if you can think of it as puffs of air like that and play it again. Okay, I will have my students do with what my teacher called blowing without playing, and this is going to be hard to do on Zoom because I don't know if you can hear me, but where you just play the air that's there, and that's kind of what I did before. So if you just blow the air, here I'll blow right into the microphone. Can you hear this when I do this? Can you hear that? All right. So here's what blowing without playing would sound like. On this passage, you'd go. Would you do that, please? Did you understand what I was doing there? Usually in lessons, I'll point out to the music. But did you understand how that related to the music we're playing here?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you just do that blowing without playing? Now, I'm not sure I'm going to hear you and I can't see you, but just do that and tell me when you're done. Okay, you done?
Yeah.
Okay, now I want you to play the piece. Just play the piece, but think of that blowing without playing. Think of what the air is doing.
The whole thing or just that phrase?
No, no, just that passage. Just that passage. Excellent. Okay. Now, so what does the air do in the next passage, the next three measures? The air is just doing the rhythm of the air column is simply eighth notes, right? Now we're moving our fingers between that, but all the air does is right? So would you blow without playing just eighth notes there for one measure, okay? And tell me when you're done. Okay, now I want you to play it. And while you're playing it, think of what the air is doing. Yeah, good. Go ahead. Play all three measures now. And think of what the air is doing the whole way. Good. Excellent. Okay. So whenever you're playing, you want the air to be dominant. You want to think of what the air is doing, and when you're tonguing, whatever you're doing, you want the reed to respond to the air column as correctly, if I can, as you can. Okay, are we out of time?
Right. We are out of time. Thank you so
I'm
much, Stephen.
sorry.
No, that's okay. My clinicians today, just make sure you have your chat open and available, because that's how I'm going to communicate with you for the timing there. Well, thank you so much,
I
Emma.
got it.
Give her all a round, please.
Yeah, thank you, Emma.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we're going to have Jacob White, who's joining us from Potsdam. He competed as part of the senior division for the performance competition. So with him, we're going to have Taylor Barlow as the clinician. I'll tell you a little bit about Taylor here. So clarinetist and arts administrator Taylor Barlow is based in Huntsville, Alabama, where she is the instructor of clarinet at the University of Alabama in Huntsville and executive director of the Huntsville Youth Orchestra. She is principal clarinet of the Huntsville Ballet Orchestra and frequently performs with the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra. Barlow holds a Master of Music in Clarinet Performance from the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, as well as a Bachelor of Music in Clarinet Performance and a Bachelor of Arts in Arts Administration from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Her primary teachers include Jeff Anderley, Dr. Andy Hudson, and Dr. Anthony Taylor. Let's welcome Jacob and Taylor.
Oh, hi Jacob, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Awesome. Well, nice meeting you today. I look forward to hearing you play. Why don't we just start with a run through of the etude?
Okay.
Awesome. Great job. Yeah, it's obviously you put in a lot of hard work on this, so congratulations on your hard work. What would you say is your biggest obstacle in this etude?
Probably transitions between registers, so like clarion to altissimo, and sometimes the shallow to clarion as well.
Yeah, definitely a tricky one as it's going across all the range of the instrument, but also in soft dynamics and loud dynamics. Let's go back to the beginning, and I want to see if we can make that connection from the A to the D between the second and third measures a bit smoother. I think you could think about the air spinning a bit more on that A into the D. I hear a great crescendo leading up to it, but then the air is like backing off ever so slightly, like you're almost scared of that D. So let's just start at the beginning again and see if you can really commit to going all the way into the D and just relax and see what happens. Yeah, that was a lot smoother into it. I think a lot of times with high notes and getting them to speak, we're our worst enemies of thinking that it's a lot more scary or harder than it is. But I think as much as you can commit to the notes, especially before them, it'll make the higher notes a bit more easy. I like to think of especially lower notes before the break almost like a diving board to leap up to the high note, almost going for that note the most before the high ones. And then the high ones just kind of come out like it did then. So great job on that. And I think that can be applied to really any of the high notes. A lot of them you did quite well. That was just one that I noticed could use a little bit more love. Let's talk about some of the grace notes throughout. What are your thoughts and interpretations on the grace notes?
I think they should be taken a little like slower, like give them more like length than you usually would, with this being like a very slow etude.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I almost wonder if you could make them even like a little bit slower, almost treat them like they're part of a melody and less of an ornamentation. Let's go maybe 3 beats before number 5. And see if you can just think about it being part of a melody, like you're an opera singer singing those notes. Yeah, so I like the length of that a little bit better. It sounds like now we're almost adding time to the half notes before those grace notes. So now I think we have to find the right timing of moving off of that half note so that the eighth note after the grace notes is still on the beat. What sort of subdivisions are you thinking about throughout this? Are you thinking of like
Um,
a half note, quarter note, eighth notes?
Mostly eighth notes.
Okay. Yeah, the smaller subdivision you can think about, the better. Um, so let's try that again and see if you can make sure that the grace notes are really being placed early enough on that half note where the eighth note after them is on the beat.
Same spot.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, that was a lot better, more time. I think you could take some time, but it sounded like every time was just taking a little bit more than the first. And we have a long way to go on this etude. So I think choose the few places that you want to take time and then keep it moving in other areas. I think this is a good section where we realize the like rule of three happening in music. Have you heard about that? It happens in all the different literature or art forms.
I think I've heard it in like a cello master class or something like that. I've heard of it, but I can't remember what exactly it means.
Yeah, it's just that things happen in like groups of three pretty frequently. Like stories, I can't think of any story examples off the top of my head, but especially in music like this. So, like the first chunk from pickups into five through that grace note, we have that the first time. And then after that, it happens again a second time. And it happens a third time, but it expands upon with that long 16th run and then the eighth notes. So I think you can bring that out more and really show that we have this like sequence. Because it is a sequence too. It's starting on an A and then going down and then the B flat and then the C. And they're going all the way up to the D at the end. So I think you can also do more with the swells, thinking about each one starting a bit louder and getting a bit louder than the previous one. And then really on that last, you can sing out almost more cadenza like on those 16ths. Why don't we try that and try thinking about that rule of three that we have happening here? Yeah, that was lovely. I know a lot of times in A2s there are many markings giving to us. I'm just curious, is your plan to crescendo all the way into that last half note D, or are you thinking about coming away into it?
I was planning on crescendoing. I just kind of ran out of breath there.
Yeah, breath's a big issue. Um, where's the last breath that you're planning on taking before that?
On the high C before the 16th note runs.
Yeah. I think there, if you need like a really quick breath, you might could do it after that G 16th note on the beginning of the first measure where it drops down to piano, like a really quick sneak breath. Um, but yeah, I think maybe even reserving the air more through those 16ths so we can really go all the way to that half note D and make that feel like the arrival. So right now it's sounding like that high D is the arrival. I think too, for the crescendo, you can think about letting the range of it also be what's kind of carrying the crescendo so you don't have to work quite as hard. Why don't we try from that third time, so starting on that high C at the end of the second line. Yeah, that was a lot more impactful. So I think do what you can and figure out where you're going with your phrases and how you can shape and adapt your air to make sure you can get there. I think a lot about conserving the air in certain spots when there aren't breath options. So I think that would be a good thing to think about throughout all of this. Most of the other places were quite good breathing wise. Um, is there a certain section you would like to work on more in depth?
Hmm. Maybe the after 10, I think it's 3 bars, the triplets going into the eighth notes.
Yeah, let's do that. Um, I like this section. It's kind of building up a lot of energy in it, and I think you do a great job of it. I just want more of it. I think you could almost like push the tempo and press forward more with each of these accents that are descending. Why don't we try this section again, starting on that spot? Yeah, that's getting there. Do you know what inquito means?
I do not.
It means restless. So I think really, as much as you can build, I would personally press the tempo a bit more forward through it. And then as it goes back to the triplets, kind of relaxing and flowing back down again. Why don't you try that? Yeah, how did that feel?
That felt so much better, yeah.
Yeah, I think in this one it's so slow. Find the spots that give you more permission to press forward. I do like this edition of the Rose Etudes. There are many different editions, but I like that this one gives a lot of like color and descriptive words. So if you haven't, I would go through and look a lot of those up, because Restless gives it a bit more different of an personality, I think, than you might think it does. So I would look more into those if you haven't. I think you're doing a great job with a lot of your fermatas and holding them and the pacing. They're being held out a nice amount. There's one of them I wanted a little bit longer. And I think it was in measure 31, that A. Piano dimic. I think I just wanted it a little bit longer. It almost sounded like it was almost in time. Can we go maybe starting the line above, so measure 28 on that C that's a piano after the breath mark?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot better. I imagine, especially this one, I think it's very operatic in nature. Have you watched much opera before?
Not a whole lot, but I have watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, I would look at a bit more opera, especially like soprano divas, see what they do with this, and see how you can be more of an opera diva in this piece, but in all of your other performing. Well, it's been great working with you today and getting to hear you play. Great job. And best of luck on whatever you're working on next.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jacob. You sounded great. Appreciate you being willing to do this. And thank you so much to Taylor as well. Our next clinician is Maryanne Lacaille, and she's going to be working with Jesse, who submitted a submission for the adult division of the performance competition. So I'm going to read a little bit about Maryanne for us. So Maryanne Lacaille has garnered international attention for her virtuosity, creativity, and command of her instrument, producing rich, lush phrases and dynamic programming. Her international travels and ongoing practice and studies on diverse musical cultures have become part of the fabric and driving force behind her performances. Her travels to over 26 countries, including Hong Kong, Italy, Germany, Mexico, Central America, Hawaii, Thailand, South India, Venezuela, Mumbai, Cuba, and Brazil during the past 30 years have become the fabric and force of her insight into musical cultures. As an innovative educator, Maryanne is currently a Silverstein artist, an RZ artist, and was previously a buffet clarinet artist and a D'Addario reed artist for the Ricoh Corporation. Maryanne is currently in high demand as a clinician, soloist, chamber musician, and educator throughout the U.S., Mexico, Europe, and the Middle East. Orchestral experience includes a wide diversity, including Phantom of the Opera and Carousel in the US and West Side Story in Italy and Germany. Additional orchestral experience includes the Federal Way Symphony, the Seattle Philharmonic, and the Northwest Mahler Festival Orchestra. Maryanne has appeared as a featured soloist for several clarinet conferences and symposiums, including the ICA's clarinet conferences in Seattle, Washington, Vancouver, Kansas City, Baton Rouge, Lawrence, Orlando, Ostend, Belgium, and Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's welcome Maryanne and Jesse, please.
Thank you.
Sorry, trying to unmute.
Yeah. Hi, Jesse.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bravo. Good job. One of the first things that come to mind is air and support. Mm-hmm. And I always tell everybody, what goes up must come down. Okay, and I'll explain that. When you play higher, mm-hmm. your air support drops down, which opens up everything in here and allows you to play without obstruction and more clarity and freedom and expression. Okay, so when you're playing, as you go higher, your air support drops down. So I like to think high air support, middle air support around the belly button, and then bottom air support around your legs. Okay, does that make sense? It's kind of like, okay, so it's kind of like an elevator. So at the bottom of the building, there's all the electrical equipment and the hydraulic pumps and all that stuff. That's the bottom support. And then as you go up to the first floor, which is your belly button area, there's a few pieces of furniture there. And as you go up into the second or third floor, there's hardly anything up there. So we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and we're going to start hauling furniture up to the top floor. But keep in mind, all the engineering and the electronic equipment is down at the bottom. Okay, so can you play just F to B flat for me and hold the B flat when you get there? Boom, boom. Yeah, but I would like more. So up here for the F, and then you're going to go all the way down for the B flat with the support.
I'm having difficulty trying to find that pinpoint.
Okay, and let's go into detail. I want you to play the F, and then when you play the B flat, I want you to stand up about maybe 4 or 5 inches off the chair, and that is going to force your air support to go where it needs to.
Okay.
Can we try it?
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. Hear the difference?
Yeah.
That the quality is a lot better. I call it chair exercises. Another exercise you can do is you don't have to do it here, but to extend your legs out straight and sit up perpendicular and play the exercise. Okay. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep your core muscles fully engaged. Okay. Now, something else I wanted to, actually, let's go back to the beginning and play the first 8 measures for me. Using, don't forget the hydraulic pump and the elevator.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Can you play that? Da, da, like we're going to sing it. Slow. Slower. Slower. Yeah, slower. Da, 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 da. So. Beautiful. Okay. Now there's a little discrepancy when you go over the break. Your B flat is a little on the airy side.
Yeah, it is.
Which it is, it's like one of the worst notes. So can you do a little crescendo in those 3? Da, 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 and crescendo into each one of those slowly, please.
Like each individual one crescendo as
No.
I'm going down? Okay.
Good. Now, on the B flat, what fingering are you, when you go from C to B flat, what fingering are you using?
I'm using traditional.
Okay. This is the worst one. Always, if you're playing something that requires that B flat, I always do something called venting, where you vent the keys. Do you know about that? Okay.
Yep, you open up the side one or something to help raise the pitch, or
yeah. So tell me what you know about venting.
just what I've really done with experimentation, really. Like when I go through a piece or something and I have like a throat tone that's particularly like it's not getting the sound I want, or if it like the intonation isn't great.
Right.
Like
Right.
I know my Fs, my clarion F here, it tends to run flatter than everything else on my horn. So I usually vent it with my E flat key, and it brings the pitch up a little bit.
Okay. Excess venting is not what I recommend. But I do recommend, let me ask you this. Are you working with a tuner?
Yes.
Okay. 70% of the time, 20%?
I'd say probably close to 75 to 80% of the time.
Excellent. Okay. Next question. Do you do long tones?
I try to. I strive to, but I'm usually quite pressed for time, and more often than not, unfortunately, they kind of get neglected in my
I hear you. You don't have to spend an hour to do long tones. You can isolate on a couple of notes that you feel rather uneasy about. So if we could do like the B flat, for example. Now, what I recommend for eventing is, I don't know if you can see that, my B flat, this one, and the F key.
Okay.
Try it. And then go off and on.
That does sound a lot better with those two.
Yeah. And and that's a great transition if you're going from C to B flat. So from, C to B flat, and then just keep these down. So C, B flat, A, and then G is up, and then F. Let's try that.
Oh. It's a little bit difficult having to add that, like, do the shift there.
Yeah.
Especially that quickly.
Sure. And and that's only for like slow practicing. I wouldn't do it if you're doing the Rossini or anything, you're running up scales. But for slow practicing where that B flat is totally exposed, that's a good place to add that. Long tones would be, in my opinion, very helpful as far as talking about the what goes up comes down and expressing yourself on maintaining your good pitch and everything. Let me ask, can you play the last 8 measures of the piece?
Sure.
Good. The B flat arpeggio. Play that slow. Yeah. I can't see. Are you using the cross fingering B flat or the side key?
I just did the 1-and-1 for that arpeggio, but I switch between them depending on what seems to be working in my favor the best.
Right. I would stick with the cross fingering.
Okay.
Because and I'm a mood changer too. I play something like, I don't like that fingering, so I try something else. But if it works, I recommend it. And you sound great on your high B flat. It's a good one. Let's go on. Do you have anything you'd like to focus on, like a little section that is giving you some trouble?
Basically, like, what I spent most of my time focusing on this piece in particular was like around measure 40 up until 50. Like those 10 bars I think technically were the most difficult and challenging, and I found myself having to spend a lot of time working on them. And it wasn't measure 40 and 41 so much that I found, like, once I got that under my fingers, it was okay. Getting that 1-to-1 E flat on 42, like incorporating that to make that transition a little easier helped. But let's see, 40, 41, 43, just trying to lean on that and not rush.
Okay. Can you play 40 through 44?
Sure.
Okay. That da 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 that part. Can you play that da da dee da da that slow? 2, ready, and So make sure the E flat to the C speaks a little bit better. Yeah, I'm hearing da 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 a little bit. Dee da da da. Yeah.
It could be my clicking. Like,
Yeah,
keys a little
yeah,
noisy.
yeah. Are you playing? Are you playing your C? Are you C on the left, or are you flipping it to the right?
I'm doing it on the left.
Okay.
I'm keeping it consistently on the left.
Good. All right. Play that measure and the next measure very slow. Good. That the E flat needs to be vocalized a little bit, and I think you're just a tad bit sharp.
Oh yes, it is. Like the 1-on-1 is quite sharp.
Yeah.
I wonder.
All right, folks. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We're right at the end of our masterclass time here. So I do want to thank you both for your time. Nice job, Jesse. You sound great. And thank you to Maryanne for your time. Thank you to all of our clinicians. I'm going to hand this back over to Jessica so she can tell us what's happening next. But I appreciate you all being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Clareidoscope today. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your great performances, and thank you to our clinicians for helping them along the way.